Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. For this week's dinners, I took a budget of $35 and went around the stores and the local farmers market here in Redondo Beach to try and find affordable organic produce so I can make dinners for every day of this week, and this is what I found. I got the meat at Smart&Final. I found some organic chicken for $2.23 and some organic ground beef for $3.99. And from Trader Joe's, I got some organic 3-grain tempeh, it was $1.99, and 3-color quinoa, that was $2.99. And all of my fresh produce is from the farmer's market. The cucumber, 2 tomatoes, and the zucchini I found at one place for $6.50. The avocados I found at a different place and they were $3. 6 fresh eggs were $4.50. And I got a good deal on the cauliflower and 2 onions, they were $3. And 1 eggplant, some broccoli, tomatoes, and carrots were from a different stand and they were about $6. So we came to a total of $34.70. I will put all the prices in the description below. For the first recipe, we're gonna need 1 cauliflower, and here I have 5 chicken drumsticks that I will wash and clean. And from my home pantry, I'm using a little bit of butter and some seasoning. I washed and cleaned the cauliflower and I cut the hard bit off the stem. And here I have 1 pot of boiling water to which I will add a little bit of salt. Our cauliflower goes in and we will cook it for 6 minutes. I've washed the chicken as well, and here I have 1 tablespoon of melted butter, and I will add a little bit of oil to it so it doesn't burn, and we're gonna make a seasoning for our chicken. To the butter, I will add a little bit of salt, garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, ground coriander, and smoked paprika. I will mix this well and turn on my cast iron skillet. You will need a oven-proof dish because we will start it here and then put it in the oven. And I will brush our chicken with the seasoning mix. Make sure to put a generous amount under the skin as well. When your chicken is nicely coated, it will go straight into our cast iron skillet. This will only take a few minutes. We want to trap the juices inside the chicken, so make sure to flip it after 1 minute. When they're ready, just push them to the side, and the cauliflower is ready to be taken out now as well. Make sure to drain as much water as you can out of it and flip it upside down. We will start seasoning the bottom part of the cauliflower first, and I will season the bottom with salt and black pepper only. And after which I will turn the cauliflower and put it in the middle of our pan to be able to season the top part as well. I'm starting by adding a generous amount of salt and a little bit of pepper on the top as well, and also a little bit of smoked paprika. I have 1 tablespoon of melted butter here, and I will coat the whole cauliflower with it as well, just so we can achieve a nice brown crispy layer on top of the cauliflower. This goes in the oven on 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 minutes, flipping the chicken halfway through. The cauliflower will be nice and browned and the meat will be falling off the bones. I served this with some freshly sliced cucumber and it was absolutely delicious. Next, I'm gonna use half of the packet of this organic ground beef, and I'll use the remaining half for another recipe. Other ingredients I'm using are also some of these carrots, tomatoes, 1 onion, and 1 eggplant. Cut the eggplant into 1 centimeter thick slices, or a little bit less than ½ an inch. And I have here 1 bowl of water to which I will add a little bit of salt and soak in my eggplant slices for about 10 to 15 minutes to get the bitterness out of it. I will slice the onions into very small cubes and the carrots as well because we want them to cook as fast as possible. But we don't want any tomato skins, so I will cut a small cross section at the bottom of the tomato and just pull the skin off of the tomatoes. I have to mention though that these tomatoes are quite soft, so it's a little bit easier. And it's been 15 minutes, so I'm gonna take the eggplants out of the water and soak in with the paper towel any excess damp on them. You could also add a little bit more salt at this point if you'd want. For frying, you're gonna want a generous amount of oil in your pan. I'm using vegetable oil, but you could use olive oil as well if you would like. And fry the eggplants on each side for around 3 minutes or until they get completely soft and browned on both sides. For the meat filling, I will heat up some more oil in the pan and add my onions and carrots to it, and I will fry them until they have half reduced in size, so they got soft but they haven't been fully cooked. And at this point I will add half the packet of my ground beef, maybe a little bit more than half, and break it down with my spatula and mix it well together and fry it for around 3 minutes or until it starts to change color. For seasoning, I'm using garlic powder, parsley flakes, black pepper, ground thyme, and a little bit of salt. Fry it together with the seasoning for a couple of more minutes. To be able to combine all the ingredients really well together, I will add just a little bit of water and some paprika, and you want to cook it all together for just a couple of minutes or until most of the water has evaporated. And we still have our tomatoes, and I will make a tomato sauce out of them. I will only add just a little bit of salt and some oregano and blend it in my blender until we get a smooth paste. And now we have everything ready for our casserole. I will remove the meat into another bowl because I'm gonna use the cast iron skillet to make our casserole, but you could use any oven-proof dish you have at hand. Start by coating the bottom of your pan with some oil, or you could use oil spray, and layer all of the eggplant slices at the bottom of your pan, making sure the bottom is fully covered. And then add a layer of your meat and vegetable mix. To make sure that it will all bake evenly, spread it around and tap it down into an even layer. And now add the tomato sauce on top of the meat and spread that one around with your spatula as well, so it's all evenly coated. I have a little bit of tomato sauce left, but that's fine, I can use it for another recipe. I will bake this on 400 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes or until most of the liquid has been absorbed. For the next recipe, I'm gonna use the remaining ground beef that I have and half of the onion, 2 carrots, and 4 zucchinis. I have washed the zucchinis and now I will cut the top and the bottom part of them and slice them in half so we can take the seeds out. Just take a small spoon and you will notice that it's quite easy to take them out. Just make sure to not scrape too much of the flesh of the zucchini and keep it on the side in a bowl because we will use it later for our filling. And at the end they should look kind of like this. You will want to coat them with a little bit of oil, and I will also season them with a little bit of salt and pepper. They will go in the oven on 450 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. And in the meantime, I will chop the half of the onion and grate 2 carrots. For the filling, you'll want to start by heating up some oil in the pan, and in that oil fry your carrots and onions. Add a little bit of salt and saute them for a few minutes or until they get nice and soft and the onions have started to caramelize. And we're now ready to add in the beef. I have about half a pound or 200 grams of ground beef, and I will break it down with my spatula so I can incorporate it together with the other vegetables. And fry it all together for 5 to 7 minutes. For seasoning, I'm using some black pepper, thyme, and a large pinch of parsley flakes. Fry it all together for another minute, and now we can go in with our seeds from the zucchini that we saved earlier. You can see here that I sliced them in smaller pieces so they will be easier to work with and they will melt down quicker. Saute it on medium heat for around 10 minutes or until all the vegetables are nice and soft. You could add more salt at this point. I decided to use my leftover tomato paste from our eggplant casserole, and that already has salt in it. I will season it with some paprika at the end and just let it simmer until most of the water has evaporated. And that's it, and you can also see that the zucchini boats have gotten softer, but they're not baked. Spread the filling across all zucchini boats evenly and stuff all of them If you'd wish, you can add some cheese on top, but we didn't have any in the budget, so I'm just doing them without. And they will go back in the oven on 450 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. I like them softer, so I bake them longer, but if you would like the zucchini a little bit crunchier, 15 minutes should suffice. I'm sure you can imagine how delicious they were, especially with those freshly cut tomatoes. Here we're gonna need some quinoa, 2/3 of the organic tempeh package, 1 broccoli, and from my home pantry I'm using 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, cornstarch slurry, and a little bit of sugar. I will cut 1/3 of the tempeh and leave it on the side for our next recipe, and from the remaining part I'm gonna cut it in 3 equal parts and then each part across in half to create little triangles. We will make a very easy 3-ingredient teriyaki sauce, and in here I have 3 tablespoons of water, to which I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. This one is not low in sodium, so I'm using less of it. And for sweetness, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. This is clearly not an authentic teriyaki recipe, but it's definitely on a budget. You want to mix the sauce really well together to start melting down the sugar. It helps if your water is slightly warmer here. When done, place your tempeh pieces into the marinade and let it sit in the fridge for at least 1 hour, which means that we have time to cook our quinoa. I have 1 cup of washed quinoa here, to which I'm gonna add 2 cups of water. Bring it to a boil and then reduce the heat to simmer and cook it for 15 minutes or until most of the water has been absorbed. In a separate pan, heat up some oil so we can start with our stir fry, and place in your tempeh pieces. You want to fry them on medium heat for 5 to 6 minutes on both sides. They will be crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside. You can take them out of the pan now and place in your broccoli. To the broccoli, we're gonna add just a little bit of water, cover it with a lid, and steam it for 5 to 10 minutes. We will take the broccoli out of the pan now, and in the pan we will put the remaining of our so-called teriyaki sauce. Stir it and bring to a boil slowly so we will melt down all the remaining sugar granules. Thicken it up with cornstarch slurry. Here I have just a half tablespoon of cornstarch with a little bit of water. It will become nice, thick and glossy within seconds. Taste it for seasoning, and for me it wasn't quite sweet enough, so I added a little bit of honey. You can turn off the heat now and add in the broccoli and the tempeh and just stir it around for 1 more minute just to be able to coat it nicely. And we are ready to serve. This meal was beautiful, nutritious, and on a budget. For this recipe, I'm using quinoa, half an onion, broccoli stems, and 1/3 of the tempeh from earlier, avocado, 2 carrots, and organic free-range eggs. We'll start by chopping up our vegetables into small cubes and our tempeh as well. Heat up some oil in the pan and start by frying your tempeh. It will take about 5 to 7 minutes until they get nice and golden and crunchy. After which we will take them out of the pan and go in with our vegetables. To the vegetables you'll add a little bit of salt, stir them around and cover them with a lid. Cook them on medium heat for 10 minutes. The carrots have now gotten soft, so I can season it. I'm using some black pepper, dried sage, granulated garlic, parsley flakes, and some chicken bouillon. Fry together with the seasoning for 1 more minute. And to make sure that our chicken bouillon is cooked properly, I will add around 3 tablespoons of water here. It will cook out very quickly and the rest will be absorbed by the quinoa, so don't worry about your dish being watery. Speaking of which, I have 2 cups of cooked quinoa here that I will incorporate with the vegetables. Stir it until the water has been absorbed, or if you would like it more runny or porridgey consistency, you can add more water and cook it a little bit longer. At the end, I added a little bit of chili flakes, but they're optional. In a separate pan, I will crack and fry my egg, but you can totally leave it out or use any other protein of your choice. And we're ready to start assembling our bowl. I will put a large batch of quinoa at the bottom of my bowl, top it up with the fried tempeh, avocado, and the fried egg. I put some chili oil on top for some extra spiciness. And we came to the end of our organic budget meals video. If you liked it, please don't forget to let me know and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.